So my name is Ramesh Sethi, and where is our videographer? He left. So I lived in Seattle for about 19 years, and now I moved to Dallas area 15 months ago. So this is relatively new for me, this place. And so I have multiple things that I do. I sit on a board of a couple of nonprofits, and I'm also a professor of Vedic theology, as you can see there. And yeah, let's move on to the next slide, please. So this is a master's level course, right? So I'm not going to teach you basic things, and you have to be prepared for that. Because some of this is very difficult, but you're all master's students, right? Masters, everybody? Oh, good, good. So don't expect to understand everything that you're seeing here. There'll be some things that will take time to understand. It took me about 20 years to understand what's going on. So my 20 years of knowledge is there in 20 slides here. So don't expect everything to fall right into place. Okay. And try to understand what the overall message is, not like bits and pieces. What is it that we are trying to say? There's a lot of information packed into these. So let's move on to the next one. So there are multiple books in this space, right? So people talk in terms of why do bad things happen to good people, when bad things happen to good people, why bad things don't happen to good people, right? So we all think in terms of us being good people, don't we? Right? But bad things happen to us, don't they? Yeah. So why? Any thoughts? That's nature. Nature, okay. What else? Karma. What else? Not in our control. Not in our control. That's the most important thing. We think we are in control, right? That we had some tornadoes a few months ago here. Do we control that? American army is the most powerful in the entire world. Can we control a tornado coming from Gulf of Mexico on top of Houston and comes to Dallas? And you know why Dallas population is growing? Because by the time it reaches Dallas, its intensity kind of comes down. Same thing with Atlanta. It starts in Florida. By the time intensity comes down, that's where the major cities are. So last time, or maybe 2 times ago, I talked about 3 things. There was a lady here. I don't think she's here today. So there are 3 uncontrollable things that happen to us. One is lack of control of our own mind and body. Lack of control over other people's mind and their bodies. They can come and do anything. I'm working nicely, writing my program, C++, Java, and boss says, sorry, funding finished. We have to lay you off. Right? It happens a lot in this country. And third is problems caused by nature. Can you control that? Tsunami, hurricane, tornado, floods. Like Dallas is blessed with extreme heat and extreme cold. 1 year, there was a cold here and 30,000 cows died. And 3 years later, this happened, I think, 2017 or something. And 3 years later or 4 years later, we had 108 degrees temperature, and due to heat, a lot of humans and cows died. All right, we had 108 degrees like just 2 weeks ago. Do you have any control? No. So this gentleman here at the top, Harold Kushner, who is a Jewish rabbi, he said, maybe God is not all that powerful. Or maybe he's not all knowing. Or maybe he's not all loving. Because if he's all powerful, then he would not have caused these problems. And if he's all knowing, he should not have caused all these problems, right? Oh, he knows that people are there in Dallas, so there should be no tsunami or tornado here. No? So he came to the conclusion that God is only 2 out of 3 functions. Right? So all knowing is omniscience, all powerful is omnipotent, and all loving is, what is it? Homework for you, figure out what it is. There's a term for that, a Greek term. So, as a counter to that book, this other Jewish rabbi, his name is Rabbi Rosenblatt. He wrote a book saying, when bad things don't happen to good people. And then there's this Arnold guy, David Arnold, he said, why do bad things happen to good people? So there is a lot of debate in this world, right? Because we all think we are good. Whether we are good or not remains to be seen, right? So what is the frame of reference? So the frame of reference decides something. So how is it that we have suffering in the world, that middle point? Why is it that we have suffering in this world? If God is all loving, why should we have suffering? Any thoughts? Everybody can hear me? Okay. Or should I get my amplification system? Can you give me my laptop? I have my amplification system in there. No, sorry, laptop bag. Oops. So I always travel with my little amplification system. If people cannot hear, I immediately connect up, and that way we can talk to everyone with certain amplification, right? Assume it works. So to answer this question, we need to understand all the 5 subject matters of the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita is a book which gives you some insight. There are other books too, but this book gives you some insight into the nature of working of this world. So there are only 5 topics to understand philosophy, right? If you see Plato, Aristotle, all the Greek philosophers, they were all debating about one thing, and it's called, what is it? You have a course in philosophy here at UT Denton. So are you required to take a philosophy class or not? Really? But you need to know philosophy to be a good computer scientist. Computer science is also a philosophy, believe it or not. Right? I mean, if you go beyond the programming part of it, it's a philosophy of making certain interactions between people. So, regardless. So there are 5 topics. One is Ishvara, the all-knowing personality. Second is the spirit soul, the Jiva, us. Third is Kala, time. Fourth is Karma. And fifth is Prakriti or nature. Right? This gentleman said nature. Somebody said karma. All these are good points. But the interaction of all these points is what makes us tick in this world. Right? So the activity that a soul performs in this material world under the supervision of somebody within material nature is called karma. That's it, right? So all philosophy down to one sentence. The activity a soul does under the supervision of somebody, call him God, call him all powerful, whatever the case might be, is within this material nature is called karma. Philosophy in one sentence. So let's move on to the next slide. So karma. So I need a volunteer to read that from the top. Anyway, go ahead.
Karma is activity performed by the spirit soul, conditioned by the 3 modes of material nature under the purview of time. We are doing karma all the time. The laws of karma are very difficult to understand. Even Krishna says so. One of the primary laws of karma is, as you sow, so shall you reap. Who is witnessing our activity? The Lord in the heart, Paramatma. 2 types of karma, good karma and bad karma. Good karma, do activities performed as per the directions of the scriptures. Bad karma, don't activities performed with regarding the scriptures.
Pause there for a moment. Everybody know what a scripture is? Scripture is something that is given to us. They are called revealed scriptures. So the wise people and the sages reveal this knowledge to us, right? And somebody documents it. Even if it is not documented, it is orally transmitted. Right now, I'm orally transmitting a section of knowledge, right? Your professors orally transmit a section of knowledge on compilers or on journalism or on American history, right? So it is an oral transmission. But when it gets written down, it's called a scripture. Okay, keep going, sir.
a very restricted way, so one can gradually rectify himself. Laws of karma applies only to animals. The result of karma can be instant or delayed over multiple lifetimes. Karma can be individual and collective.
Okay, let's pause there for a moment. So karma means action, right? So are we not performing any action right now? We are. What are we doing? Eating. Eating is action, right? Talking is action. Smiling is action. You can walk past somebody and you can put a scornful face. That is karma. You will get some bad reaction. Somebody else will do the same thing to you 2 blocks down the road. Or you could just smile. The smile is infectious, as they say. And then somebody else will smile at you. So there is not a single second when you are not performing karma. Not a single second. Even when you're sleeping, are you performing or not?
Your dreams.
Yeah, you're dreaming. You're breathing. So this karma happening 24/7/365. Huh? Nightmare. Okay, nightmare is a manifestation, right? So manifestation of karma could be a nightmare. So there are 2 types of karma. One is instant and the second is delayed, right? I go and slap somebody. And you might be wondering, what has this got to do with yoga? We are coming there. So all of this tie into yoga. So somebody slaps me back. That is instant karma. Instant action and reaction, like Newton's third law of motion. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. But sometimes you are going in a car and you throw a can of Sprite at somebody. And you say, I got away. Yeah. I drive at 80 miles an hour and got away. So do you think you really got away? Somebody could have video recorded you. There could be a traffic camera. Or the guy noted your number plate and is going to go onto the internet and do a search. And is going to come back with a bomb and bomb your house. You threw a Sprite can and he may put a country Molotov cocktail, right? Putting some fuel in a bottle and your windows are all busted. So every action has a reaction, whether you think it is happening instantly or happening in a delayed manner, right? And if I say, I don't know how this is happening, is that an excuse? Why? No, that's not the point. If you say, I don't know that I shouldn't be doing it, you still should know, right? If you say, no, you are driving on the road and then the police stops you. They say, sir, you are speeding. You say, oh, sorry, officer, I didn't see the speed limit sign posted. Can you get away? What will the police say? What will they say? It is your responsibility. Like when you got your driver's license, what did you say in the test? I will pay attention to all the posted signs. So you cannot absolve yourself of your responsibility. So ignorance is not an excuse. You have to figure out what are the laws of karma. Just like you figure out the law of thermodynamics. Everybody did physics courses here, right? In your high school, law of thermodynamics, right? Law of physics, F is equal to ma, force is equal to mass into acceleration. You cannot say F is equal to ma square, or ma divided by 2. Who gives you the right? Nobody. You have to follow the law in order to pass the exam, and also in reality. When you're going at 80 miles an hour, you should realize the car is weighing 2,000 pounds, and then your acceleration is X. So it is such a dangerous machine that we have on the road. We don't realize when we drive our cars. So you cannot escape from the law of karma, right? So there is good karma and there is bad karma. These are like 2 tracks of a train, right? You see the train, there are 2 tracks. The good karma is happening, bad karma is happening. Will they nullify each other? Will they? Right. I went and slapped somebody, and then I go to church and give $10 to the pastor and say, Father, forgive me. Will it be nullified? Right.
Because you are taking on some actions,
Action has to have its reaction. All you are doing when you are giving that $10 is you are trying to ask for forgiveness. Doesn't mean that the karma is nullified, right? So there is a third type of karma called akarma, which means it neither aggregates good fruits nor bad fruits. So our life in this world should be akarma rather than sukarma, which is good karma, or vikarma, which is bad karma. Again, if you don't understand everything, at least for a moment, just stay with me and say, okay, there is this concept called good karma, bad karma, and then there's a concept called neutral karma. So if you see those military guys there, they go and kill the enemy. Will they get good karma or bad karma? Okay.
professionally it's a good karma.
Professional is good karma. What else?
At the end of the day, we try to kill a person.
Okay. So is it good or bad? Huh? Bad. Okay. Any other answers? How about you, Prabhu?
They are doing their duty. So professionally,
They're doing the duty. They are risking their life. They have been shipped to Iraq to fight a war under the orders of the commander-in-chief, who is the president of the United States. So it's neither good karma nor bad karma. They are just doing their duty on orders of their superior. But after they finish their war in Iraq and come back, and one day they get into argument with their neighbor. They pull out their revolver and blow them out. Is that good karma or bad karma? Why? What's that? Yeah. That's the corollary for what, what's your name? Remind me again. Suresh, yeah, what Suresh said. Right? So, any activity has to have a contextual frame of reference. I can use a knife to kill somebody, or I can use a knife, if I'm a medical doctor, to perform surgery and remove a tumor so that the patient can live for 5 more years. Is it the knife's problem? Is it the knife's problem? No. How you use it? The knife is neither good nor bad, but how you use it decides whether your karma is good or bad, right? Now it's a Friday evening. You could go into a bar and dance, boom, 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 like that. Or you could come and learn yoga and do something good for your body and your mind and your consciousness. So it is the same evening, Friday evening. You could use it in a positive sense or a negative sense, right? So these soldiers are not getting any kind of bad karma. Can we move on to the next, please? Who was guiding me? Okay, good. So what is our present material world? Now this gets into real deep philosophy. So there are two things. One is philosophy. The other thing is called philosophy. You know what philosophy is? What is philosophy? What fools think. Making fools of ourselves, making our own philosophy. So philosophy also has to be guided by the wise old man. Philosophy has to be guided by a wise old person and scriptures, right? It cannot come from our cuckoo mind. It cannot come from our cuckoo mind. So this material world is a place for rectification. We are able to perform some karma in this material world. I'm not talking about whether you are a banker, whether you are a software engineer, whether you are a journalist, whether you are an interior designer. We are all performing karma, right? But this material world is a place for our rectification of attitude, right? In the Civil War, they say attitude follows latitude. Any history students here? No? Probably you are the closest, right, with journalism? Yeah, yes, maybe, yeah. So during the Civil War, the attitude follows the latitude. People in the South had one kind of thinking, and people in the North had a different kind of thinking, right? North was more industrial, South was more agricultural. We are in the South right now, right? So attitude is something that we are trying to fix in this world, right? And religion is just a vehicle to do it. There's so many other vehicles. So we are an individual body. So do you know what's happening in my body right now? Where I'm having a stomach ache, or my shoulder is hurting, or my ear is hurting. You are localized. You understand what's happening in your body. Each one of us is localized, right? So there are this thing called the three modes of material nature, which bind us. Bind us means which hold us down in this material world. This is advanced concept, okay? The three modes of material nature is not the physics term. It's a spiritual term. It's a yogic term. So what are the three modes? Mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Who said ignorance? Oh, very good. So you know something about philosophy. Very nice. So the soul, which is us, we are souls trapped in these bodies, is just going through this ride in these three modes, just like that sine wave here, right? In our mathematics 8th grade to 10th grade, we learn about a sinusoidal curve. Sometimes you are in the mode of goodness, sometimes you are in the mode of passion. Passion is excited, right? Right? Like when you join company, like I work for a company, the boss asks you, what is your passion? Right? So what drives you? You don't use that term much in the academic setting, like in the University of Texas. Right? And then there's a mode of ignorance. Sab kuch chalta hai. Do whatever comes to your mind. Take it easy, dude. Do whatever, no? So the soul is sometimes in the mode of goodness, sometimes in the mode of passion, sometimes in the mode of ignorance. That's all it is. The entire world is rotating around these three modes. If you look at Donald Trump, he exudes a lot of mode of passion, right? He does. If you look at Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, you know who these guys are? All CEOs of major corporations, or presidents, CEOs, chairmen. What mode do they exude? Passion. Without that, you cannot get to that level. You cannot, right? Typical university professors are in mode of goodness. Many university students are in mode of goodness. Why? Because they are not yet contaminated by the corporate culture that we call America. I mean, I've worked in American corporate culture for 26 years. Prior to that, in Indian corporate culture for 7 years. So I know what it is, right? So everybody starts out, when you're born, you're not in passion. But then the society makes you move into passion. And when you are in mode of passion for too long, what happens? Huh?
We get adapted to it.
Adapted, and then what else happens? Frustrated, and what else happens?
We have to leave them behind on the identity.
And I'm looking for a very specific answer.
We'll get more grade.
Greed, yeah, lust, greed, and anger. The LaGuardia Airport, what are the three syllables for LaGuardia Airport? LGA. Lust, greed, and anger. Nobody flew to LaGuardia? Yeah. JFK is one airport in New York City, the other one is LaGuardia. LaGuardia code is LGA. When you book a flight ticket, you'll see that. So, LaGuardia Airport, LGA stands for lust, greed, and anger. These are called the three gates to hell. Right? If you're lusty for something, you're greedy for something, and when these are not satisfied, what happens? You become angry. When you're satisfied, what happens? You become greed. Only thing. Lust leads to greed when it is satisfied. Like when I came to America, I thought I'll have one car. Then I ended up with 4 cars. That's called greed. Right? And then one of my car got into accident. Then what happened? Anger. There you go. That's all it is. So you see, the soul is going through all these things around it. When we are born, we come with $0 out of the planet, right? And when we die, we leave with $0. But what happens in the meantime, we acquire these other things, lust, greed, and anger. So, what happens is, this is again an advanced topic. When we die in the mode of goodness, we go to higher planetary systems, so-called heavens. And when we die in the mode of passion, we come back to earth. We all died in the mode of passion in our last life. So that's why we came to this world now again. And when we die in mode of ignorance, we go to lower systems, hells, and so many. There are 28 different kinds of hells. These are all advanced topics. But why am I covering all this? Because you need to have this frame of reference of this material world to understand what yoga can do for you. Next slide, please. So what is time? So we talked about karma, right? We talked about karma a little bit. What is time? So what do you think time is? Where is the second that happened when I asked you the question, what is time? What happened to that second?
Constantly changing.
Huh?
Constantly changing.
Constant, huh?
Utilized.
It's utilized, but it's gone, right? So if I gave you $1 million to give me back that second, can you give me back? If I give you $1 billion, can I get it back? If I gave you $1 trillion, can you get it back? So time is something that you lose, right? It's called Kala Sarpa. Sarpa in Sanskrit means snake. Kala means time. So once you lose a second of time, no amount of wealth in the entire universe can get you that time back. So which is more valuable? Your car or your time? Your career or your time? Your life or your time? Both. But yeah, in the context of time, it is time. So time is linear in the Western philosophical system. Come closer, sir. Come closer. Yeah. You're all one happy family. So, in the Vedic system, the Vedic means like the basis of all the 4 Vedas, and then we have a complete theological framework around that. Time is cyclical, like it goes and it comes back, and it goes and it comes back. Not in our lifetime, but time is cyclical in a pretty long section of time, right? So after 232,000 years, this time frame that we are in will get destroyed and a new time frame will start according to scriptures. Which is very, very interesting. It took me 2 decades to understand that concept. That time is cyclical. It goes and it comes back, right? It is the greatest killer. How do we know it is the greatest killer? How is time the killer? From that perspective, but it also physically kills. Huh? Takes away everything, right? When the man dies or a woman dies, whatever you had goes away, right? And there's one more angle. Why is time the greatest killer? Where is your great grandfather? Who killed him? Time. Time killed him. Externally, you may say, oh, he had this intestinal problem, or he had this gastroenteritis, or he had this cardiac arrest. Those are all external features. But what killed your great grandfather is time. What's killing us? Time. You see, when I was young, I had a lot of hair. Now I have receding hairline. Right? At some point, this will go back. All right? And I used to have chubby cheeks. Now my cheeks are going in. What's happening? Time is killing. For a movie heroine, the worst thing that can happen is what? The first wrinkle on her face. Then she is no longer in demand. All right? Marilyn Monroe, where is she right now? Nobody wants to pay her $2 million to act in a movie. Why? Time has killed her skin, right? For a movie heroine, the most important thing is skin, right? The skin has to be very radiant, and that's when people want to be in that situation of paying that individual a lot of money to hire them as a movie hero. So time is a killer, and it is killing us as we speak. As we speak. See, the snake is devouring that frog, and frog is having a little bit of insect in its mouth. As it is getting killed, it is enjoying its little meal. Very philosophical aspect, right? In the same way, we are trying to enjoy this material world as we are getting devoured. And the yogic process is to stall that. The yogic process is to take us in a different direction. So yogic process is not just about physical poses. Page down, please. Is this yoga? You'll see this. If you go to Kumbh Mela in India, in central India, in Haridwar, actually Kumbh Mela happens where? Prayagraj, yeah. Prayag and Kashi, you'll see scenes like this. Yeah, it is, but page down. Actually, give me the keyboard. Which is the page down? The arrow, right? Down arrow. Okay. So, what did I do?
Press it again.
Okay. So, there are a lot of smart people who wrote variety of books. B.K. Iyengar, this guy from India with this long red vermilion on his forehead. He said yoga for blood pressure. Is yoga for blood pressure? Yes, it controls blood pressure, but is the purpose of yoga blood pressure control? Somebody wrote a book, Chair Yoga, how to sit in the chair. Like we were doing the chair pose to stiffen our lower back, strengthen our lower back. But somebody wrote, hey, why to strengthen like that? Just sit on the yoga, chair and do the yoga. But you won't get the same benefit, will you? You won't, right? Then somebody in Germany wrote a book called Yoga für Katzen. Katzen means cats. So yoga for cats, right? So in this way, people have different perceptions of yoga. Yoga for wellness, yoga for weight loss, yoga for pregnancy, yoga for back care, yoga for business. Come on. He's saying do yoga and you'll be business successful, right? You can also write a book, Yoga to get a job. Yoga to buy a new car, all right? So that's how people have demeaned yoga. Desktop yoga. Yoga for tennis, come on. This Sardarji wrote, Baba Nick Champion, he wrote a book called Yoga for Tennis. So what is yoga? What is it not? We start with that and then define what yoga is. It is not a mere physical exercise for shapely body, good health and long life. You get all three, right? I saw you doing yoga. You were like able to stretch all the way down. I wasn't able to do it. And you're stretching your leg all the way to the top. That's because you're probably an athlete or whatever. Right? You're able to do both of you very nicely. I was struggling. So you get physical health, but at the same time, that's not the real purpose of yoga. It is not emaciated, renunciated meditation. What is emaciated means? Like the body is gone for a toss, right? So body is in very bad shape. That's called emaciation. Did you pass GRE? That's a GRE word. You know all these things by now. You cross GRE, you're doing your master's. You're a master's student too? Or bachelor's? Bachelor's, okay, that's fine. In SAT, you will learn these terms as well, right? Yep. Is yoga a man with some extraordinary mystic powers? Is it? Actually, I'll show you a slide where when you do yoga for a long period of time, you develop mystic powers. You can become very light. You can become very heavy. You can transport yourself from this room to the next room using yogic power. You believe that? There are people who do that. There are people who have shown to journalists that they were in one location in Prayag in central India, and simultaneously they were in like a few seconds later in Himalayas, which is about 1,000 kilometers north How did they do it? How did they do it? Because yogic activity gives you special powers. But is that yoga? That is the question. So in this book called the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, become greater yogi, then tapasvi, then jnani, then karmi. Dan, I should say, it's not then, it is Dan. P-H-A-N, that's a typo. So, initially you do austerity. Tapasvi bhyo dikro yogi. These are Sanskrit. Sanskrit is a very ancient language. All languages like German, French, all of them came from Sanskrit. Knowledgeable person is a jnani, means knowledge means jnana. Jnani bhyoti mathatika. The working person is called karmi. Remember we said karma? Karma is action. When you do an action, you get results. I work in a corporation, I get what? Salary. Money, yes, but it's called salary, right? If you are a graduate research assistant, what do you get? Stipend. Yeah, so the terms change. So a working person is called karmi. Somebody who does karma. So then finally Krishna says, become a yogi. Tasmat yogi bhavarjuna. He says, become a real, true yogi. So what kind of yogi is he referring to? Again, this is a very advanced topic. So even if you don't understand more than 30%, don't be worried. We'll cover all these topics. This course I teach for 8 weeks consecutively. I've compressed everything into 1.5 hours. So you're not going home until 1.5 hours. So we want all the UNT people to become bhakti yogis, right? Is the UNT arrow there? So typically we start off at karma, then we go to dhyana. Everybody in this world starts at some kind of activity. Then we go to dhyana. Then we do dhyana or Ashtanga yoga. So we did part of the Ashtanga yoga here in this room prior to this class. What is it called? Only one part of the Ashtanga yoga. Ashtam is 8. What did we do? Asanas. There you go. Asanas. And I'll come to that. So these are not different paths, but are different rungs of the same ladder. What does that mean? So different people, 8 billion people, are at different levels of the same ladder. I'm not talking about the corporate ladder where you become a director, a vice president, a president, a CEO, and chairman. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what a soul is doing in this world. Right? We have to go through these different levels in the ladder. Is everybody with me, or do I need to slow down? No, you're with me? Good. So on the left side, you see that each one of us, sorry to say this, we start with animal life. We start out as animals, right? When we are born, we don't have much knowledge. Actually, we have no knowledge. So we are no more than an animal. Then we come to karma kanda or human life, where we do karma, right? Everybody talked about karma before. Activity. Karma is nothing but activity. Activity has reactions. Action has a reaction. Then we come to karma yoga. Karma yoga means where you are applying the fruits of your results for some other cause. So there is sakama. Sakama means I want the fruits. I am greedy for the results of my activity. There is nishkama, means I'm not greedy. I'm just going to donate it away, right? Like Warren Buffett, he gave $40 billion of his wealth to Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And Bill Gates gave $60 billion to that foundation. Oh, just because he has billions, is he going to eat too much? How many slices of pizza can you have? Oh, I'm a billionaire. I'm going to have 2,800 pizzas for dinner. Possible? No. Actually, the rich people have so many medical problems that they eat less than the common man. Right? They have blood pressure, diabetes, so many things. Right? Insomnia, they can't sleep much because why? Why can't they sleep much? Because stock market is always fluctuating, and one day they have 61 billion, the other day they have 59 billion. And they are crying, oh my God, I lost $2 billion in one day from the stock market. Right? So they have more problems. So karma yoga means applying your karma as yoga. We did one limb of Ashtanga yoga called asana today and pranayama. We did two limbs. But we are talking about something higher. Then comes Jnana yoga, knowledge. What is this world? Right? In Hindi there is a song. दुनिया बनाने वाले क्या तेरे मन में समाई काहे को दुनिया बनाई तूने काहे को दुनिया बनाई. You guys are all too young. Raj Kapoor sang this song in the 70s in a movie, Baiju Bawra or something like that. Right? So go to YouTube and look up this song. दुनिया बनाने वाले क्या तेरे मन में समाई. Of course, you guys don't know Hindi, so I won't ask you to do that. Maybe we'll find a different analogy for you. Okay, so jnana, knowledge. What is this universe? What should I do with this universe? Right? So let's do a survey. What is the goal of life? To get a computer science degree and work hard for a corporation and make Jeff Bezos rich, right? If not Jeff Bezos, you are making Warren Buffett rich. If not Buffett, you are making Bill Gates rich. Is our life about making some dude rich? Okay, some answer. What is the goal of life?
Making ourselves happy or like exploring the world.
Okay, very good thought. What else?
Realization.
Realization. What else? Satisfaction. What else? Exploring the world. What else? All of your sorry, yes, go ahead.
Surviving.
Survival. What else? Peacefulness. What else? Okay. In statistics, there is something called cluster analysis. All of your answers are clustering around one topic. What is the central theme? What you just mentioned, happiness. We all want to be happy, right? Raise your hand if you want to be miserable. Oh, I don't want to be happy. So, if our goal of life is happiness, why are we doing all these other things? Right? Why are we doing all these other things? If you ask any rich man, any billionaire in Wall Street, if you ask them the goal of life, they have no answer. Why? Because all they do is get up in the morning, 6 o'clock, check the Japanese stock market. 9 o'clock, the American stock market. Night 8 o'clock, they're checking the European stock market. They're working like donkeys, not knowing what the goal of life is. At least we are better. At least we have some work-life balance. These guys work 16 hours a day. I work for 2 weeks in Wall Street. Day starts early in the morning. 7 o'clock, the limo comes. They pick me up. They take me to office. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner is catered. I work till midnight. Limo comes. I sleep in the limo back seat. They drop me off at my place. I go and get 6 hours of sleep. Again, the limo comes in the morning. Looks very rosy, eh? Limo is coming for you. But what are you doing? You have zero life. Right? You have zero life. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner catered, so you're essentially a prisoner. You're a prisoner in your office. Because they don't know what the goal of life is. Goal of life is, what this lady said, simply being happy. That's it. And we are assuming that what activities we are doing will somehow magically make us happy. Right? So hold on to that thought, we'll come to that later. So then we go into Ashtanga Yoga. Then we go into two types of realization. One, understanding the word, Brahman realization. Second, understanding the super soul called Param Atma. Atma in Sanskrit means soul. Param means super. So in your body, there are two guys. One is you, the soul. The second is the super soul. The super soul is guiding you constantly and it is directing you in a particular way. Are we losing this room?
We'll have
In how long? Okay, we'll keep continuing
Probably,
till
like,
we get kicked out.
probably another 5 minutes.
Okay, and then comes Bhakti Yoga. So we call this club Bhakti Yoga Club. Now we are all humbled by knowing that we have ways to go. Yeah, we have ways to go. So the right side is also a different application. Here we talk about various verses of the Gita. Gita is called Song of the Lord, Bhagavad Gita. That is the same concept, right? At the low level, we do Ugra Karma, means bad karma. Then we do Karma Kanda, means karma with some purpose in life. Then we do Akarma, which means it is not binding. Any karma is binding because if you slap somebody, it's going to come back to you. Then we go to Jnana, knowledge, Dhyana, meditation. So we covered 2 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga today, and we did meditation on the mantra, right? The Hare Krishna mantra. So we are there. We are trying to get there, right? Note that I am not talking about economics. I am not talking about sociology. I am not talking about biology, because this is more important than all of the ologies. This is about you. This is about you. The inherent you trapped in a body right now. And we need to think about that. All these ologies are required to make a living. You have to work somewhere. You have to spend your 8 hours somewhere. You cannot just be lazy hanging around here and there. So do that stuff. But while you're doing all of that stuff, we need to understand who am I and what is my goal in life. And if I want to be happy, what are the steps that I need to take to get to that happiness, right? It may sound philosophically boring, but when you go to your dorm and you start thinking about this stuff, you will thank me, right? Ultimately, goal is only to do one thing. Whether we get married, we have kids. Oh, it's fun to have kids. Now your kid wants iPhone. iPhone 15 is what? Yesterday my son bought one. With taxes $940. Right? When I came to America, I bought a flip phone for $50. And my son wants a $940 phone. So you'll all go through that. But all of the goal is to be happy, right? So don't lose sight of that. And happiness comes through the practice of yoga. So human beings are divided into law abiders and law breakers. The karmis, the people who do karma, the jnanis, the knowledge workers, the dhyanis, the meditators, and the bhaktas, which we are all aspiring to be, are law abiders. And the law breakers are immoralists and somebody quote unquote moralists, which they say that, yeah, dude, this is the way you lead life. Jimi Hendrix, the guitarist, you know how he died? He drank too much, he vomited, and his body was found in a pool of his own vomit. Let's see, kept on drinking. Jägermeister or whatever those heavy drinks are. Right? So those are lawbreakers. And then in karmis, there's sakama and nishkama. Sakama means I want the fruit on my result, and nishkama is I don't want the fruit. Right? Fruit means anything that you work, you get some kind of fruit. Again, advanced concept, it took me a long time to understand. I'm just planting the seed, and we will expand upon this in the coming weeks and months. And one gentleman, his name is Romapal Swami, he's coming in November. He'll be here November 8th in the evening. And I learned a lot of this stuff from him, and he's going to teach it better than I am teaching. So why are there different systems of yoga? Different grades of education catering to different grades. You cannot teach the same knowledge to third grader and a master student, can you? So that's why there are different levels of yoga, right? So we'll skip this. This is a little advanced topic. Let's talk about Jnana Yoga. Elevation process through spiritual consciousness through cultivation of philosophical knowledge. This is a philosophy class. This is a very advanced class. You're all master students, so you are catching some of it. But if I taught the same thing to high school students, they may not catch it. Right? Ashtanga Yoga, there are 8 limbs. Yama, Niyama. Do's and don'ts. There are rules for things that you need to do in this world. There are rules that you should not be doing. Everybody knows drinking is bad, but people still drink. Everybody knows smoking is bad, people still smoke. Everybody knows killing animals is bad, but people still eat meat, right? So those are things that yogic process regulates. Note that I said, I did not say eliminates, it says regulates. Asana, the physical bodily activity, and pranayama, the breathing activity. Yeah. Pratyahara, control of the senses. Our senses are all running wild. Eyes want to look at the latest Hollywood movie. Ears want to listen to zombie rock. Bum, 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 bum. Like that. And then dharana means light meditation. Dhyana means deep meditation. And finally, samadhi. The goal of yoga is you control all of your senses, you go deep within. And then once you go deep within, there are other things to be done. You take the Hare Krishna mantra and say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So physical yogis attain specific powers. I was telling you earlier.
Can we continue next time?
We can continue next time. Let me finish
Yeah,
this.
okay.
Physical yogis, remember I said that yogis attain powers. You will not attain powers. You have to be very careful if you do this for the next 30 years. Becoming minute, like anima, power of expansion, mahima, you can expand yourself. Power of becoming heavy, called garima. Power of becoming light, called lagima. Power of reaching anywhere, called prapti. From here, you can go to Washington, D.C. and talk to Mr. Biden and come back. And Biden will be shocked. Hey, how did the security guy let you in? And you said, don't need no security, man. I am a yogi, right? So yogis can do this. We'll pause there and we'll continue next time. Thank you very much for your time. And meditate, think through what I just said. You are not the body, you are the soul. You are being controlled by these three modes. It's a very different science than biology and physics and chemistry. Yeah, biology, physics, chemistry pertain to the body, and we are talking about soul. Thank you very much.
Please give us some feedback on how you like the class. I think there is a QR code in the beginning that we had.
Yeah, can you flash that? Yeah, if you can take your mobile phone and
Take a thing and
Yeah.
take you to a place where you can give feedback if you need to. Let us
thank you,
know
people online.
how you like the yoga session, pranayama, meditation, and finally